fix it. Every now and then, fix it. Get down on your knees and fix it. Say, fix it, Jesus. Won't God fix it? Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Somebody know God to fix it tonight. Anybody been sick? Did God fix it? Anybody been hungry? Did God fix it? What I'm talking about right now. Anybody need fixing? If you need a fixing, let me hear you clap your hands. If you need fixing, let me hear you clap your hands. If you need fixing, let's make the joy of the Lord. Let's make the joy of the Lord. Ain't God all right tonight? Won't God fix it? Won't God fix it? If you never hear me sing no more, I just want you to remember, whatever your problem is, my God can fix it. My God can fix it. I know you have good plans for me, plans to prosper, plans to succeed. You know the thoughts you think towards me, and I'm so grateful you love me. I know that when you look at me, you see your child, you see my need. I know that you will never leave. I trust you, Father. I believe your promises are yes and amen. And I believe you will do what you say. My trust in you will not waver. My victory is guaranteed because you remain the same. We're fighting in this daily war. Satan tries to conquer our soul through pain, through fear, through stress, through storms. The battle rages on and on. We know that. Hey, we hold on. Yeah. Your promises are yes and amen. I believe you're gonna do just what you say. My trust in you will not fail. My victory is guaranteed because you remain the same. Yes. Oh. Hey, no matter what comes my way, hallelujah, anyhow. Till my night turns to day, hallelujah, anyhow. Yeah. Hit keeps coming after hit. Got me thinking maybe this is it.
This is where the community is connected. 980 AM WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Macon and Middle Georgia. It's time for Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM WDDO. Log on to the Glory 107.9 FM on Facebook or YouTube to become a part of the conversation. Let's go live into the studio for Village Talks with Tia and LJ.
Is your child struggling with reading, writing, learning loss, and a culturally irrelevant curriculum? Do you want your child to be outstanding at reading and writing and also take pride in their culture? Then you want Reading Revolution Online. Reading Revolution Online is a web-based reading support program. We serve scholars in grades K through 8, and through our innovative approach, we help them build reading confidence and cultural identity development, equipping them for success in school and life. They learn about Black heroes and sheroes through captioned videos, reading selections, and other activities. Reading Revolution Online is an experience for the whole family. Do it for the culture. Go to readingrevolution.org and get your membership today.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. How y'all doing out there? Hey, welcome to Village Talks. We are Macon Middle Georgia's freshest radio show and Godcast, bringing you conversations centered around culture and community from right here in Macon Middle Georgia, which is the 478 and beyond. I am your co-host, LJ, and to my left is my beautiful co-host.
Tia, peace and blessings, good people. How y'all doing out there?
I'm feeling pretty good today.
That's good.
You feeling good?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling real good. We had some good lunch and learn sessions at Burdell Hunt Elementary School. Shout out to Burdell Hunt and all of the faculty and staff there who are doing amazing things and keeping the parents engaged and informed at the school.
Yeah. Shout out to you too. You and Miss Beverly.
Yes.
Yeah, with the community school coordinators for United Way at Burdell. Y'all got an award yesterday from the city of Macon.
We had a proclamation.
Okay, well, excuse me, proclamation.
It was a proclamation. It was read at the meeting yesterday. So thank you again to Bibb County School District as well as City Hall for the honors that have been bestowed upon myself as the Burdell Hunt school coordinator and Beverly Wright, who is over at LH Williams in Pleasant Hill.
Awesome. Y'all doing good work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Tia got a beautiful color on. What color is that? What is that? Fuchsia? Folks on the radio, Tia, she don't know what color it is. It's sherbet. It's beautiful though. I love it.
Thank you. I thought it was orange, but we're going to go with fuchsia and sherbet. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, just to let y'all know, if you didn't know, we are live on the radio. So all our folks that are watching online on 107.9 FM or 980 AM WDDO. So for all the people that are in radio land that are listening to us right now on your radio, we are also live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as the Glory app in the Apple Play Store and Google Play Store, and on our website at www.wddo.live. So we're asking right now that y'all check in with us live, and also you can join this conversation at any given time. We're going to have a special guest we're going to announce in a little bit. It's Macon Bibb County Commissioner Stanley Stewart. So if you want to join this conversation with us and ask him some questions and just join the conversation in general. If you have something you just want to say, make sure you give us a call at 478-250-1444. Again, that's 478-250-1444. So check in with us and join the conversation.
Absolutely. And then we do want to just give a special thanks to our sponsors here at the station. First, I want to say a big shout out to Homeland Village Cultural Center. Guys, right here on Napier, Mr. Abijah Kirkland Hodges, for all of your essential needs. So from shea butter to sea moss to educational books to artifacts and clothing, and also food. Well, has he left yet? I be in and out of the country, y'all. So if you want some food, you got to catch him while he's here. So,
I'm telling you.
But yes, big shout out to Homeland Village. Y'all check it out. And then we want to also give thanks to Habersham Records.
Habersham Records.
Mama Malone.
That's right. Miss Pat, just my mom. Shout out to her. And Assembly Brothers.
Assembly Brothers, Big Sherman Kind.
That's right. And also the owners of this wonderful station, Apostle Rozier and Bishop Scott from the Glory Media Group. It's an amazing platform, so we appreciate y'all. And also Roscoe Tours. So take care of all your transportation needs. So if you need a charter bus, a Sprinter van, ADA vehicle, you name it, make sure you reach out to them.
Absolutely. So we are going to move right along to our accountability check question, and that's going to really lead into our special guest. The theme of today's show is leadership, accountability, and community engagement in Macon Bibb. And so our question today for the accountability check is, do you believe that our local leaders in Macon Bibb are truly serving with respect, transparency, and accountability?
You gonna repeat that?
I'm gonna repeat it, and I'm gonna post it in the chat, y'all. So again, that accountability check question is, do you believe that our local leaders in Macon Bibb are truly serving with respect, transparency, and accountability? So let us know y'all thoughts. Please, let's get these comments going. And if you want to call in, we are at 478-250-1444. LJ, did you want to share any thoughts about accountability or our accountability check question here?
That's a loaded question you're asking me. So we have a guest here today. We're gonna try to let him answer that question, and then we also have we need y'all. We need y'all to check in with us. Y'all a little late on the check in too, so we need y'all to check in with us. Let us know what y'all think about that. But I'll give you a quick little snippet. Of course, there's been a lot going on in regards to accountability and if people are being transparent. I was, a little bit vocal about that last week. I still feel the same way, in regards to the ethics situation that we had with the mayor getting fined $5,000 from the Ethics Commission, as well as the Go Big Macon and the situation with the Industrial Authority, and and how they got fined as well with their contribution to making sure that the SPLOST was passed, right? So I think that our leadership should be transparent. There's something called a political PAC where you can put money into certain PACs, certain organizations to fund candidates that represent certain principles or policies that you want to see in your local government or just in your government in general. And there's been an organization operating as a political PAC. That's what all the whole Ethics Commission stuff was about. Because you had money that went from the mayor's campaign, mayor campaign. They end up going to a organization called Advanced Alliance of Georgia Fund. And then it went from Advanced Alliance of Georgia Fund to Making Bibb for It Together.
Right.
And then it went from Making Bibb for It Together to some of Southern Majority, which they're doing the campaign work. So we had like 4 different organizations that were trying to make sure they vied for certain candidates to fit a certain agenda, and then or they just believed in the candidates, whatever it was. I had my opinion about that. But then we had the same type of situation happening to make sure that the SPLOST was passed with money going through that same channel, but through a different way.
Right.
So nobody told us about that though.
Right.
And I think it would be better if we had leadership that was at least willing, because a lot of times, you have these PACs that operate statewide or nationwide, and they'll let you know. They let you know what their stance is. They do a lot of civic engagement and engagement around and education around what they stand for. And, they'll be vocal about the candidates, and they're transparent and open with the candidates that they support. Right. So, I think that anyone involved in these organizations or anyone involved with Making Bibb for It Together, the Advanced Alliance, whoever it is that's working towards making sure that they elect certain folks from Macon, I think they should be open and let folks know why they're trying to do that. So I think that's only fair because, it's not illegal to operate these PACs. But now once you start operating them like that, then it gets a little murky. So I'm not going to, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not the court. So it's up to them to, hold people responsible or accountable for that. But they did. They fined, they got fined for that. But I definitely think we need more transparency. And not just that, not just with the mayor situation and all of that. I think across the board, we need more transparency and accountability from our leadership. Um,
And
yeah.
I just to throw in before we introduce our guests, and I think a lot of people, even with that, were focused on the dollar amount of the fine. And I think the material aspect of it was a little bit too much focused on, and not where you're talking about like that transparency piece. Because if there was no issue, if it was ethical and there was no problem, then I feel like that's something that the community should know about, because it was talking about civic engagement, policy advocacy in areas of public safety, education, economic development, and good governance. So we're speaking about money getting put into those things.
Right.
How do we see that reflected in our community?
Right.
And I think that that's an important piece when we're talking about being ethical, being moral, and
Right.
standing on principles and values. Like it's fine. Okay, you got fined. All right, you paid the fine, but it's more than just the money that you paid. Is how are we as a community being informed, so that way we understand, okay, this is where this money went, and this is how it is benefiting you as a community. So
Right. And I think we deserve that, especially when we're talking about changing our charter. Well, you know, the mayor's trying to get a third term, or folks are vying for him to get a third term and stuff like
Right.
that. You know, so if that gets put like on a referendum or something like that, well, we have to vote on that as a community. Even if that does come up,
right.
then who's to say, you know, there won't be some group that'll put some money together to make sure that happens. You understand what I'm saying? So stuff like that, you know, it's really kind of borderline not right.
And that's why we're asking the question, y'all. Do you believe our local leaders in Macon Bibb are truly serving with respect, transparency, and accountability? We got some haze going on in the comments. Hey, Miss Aisha.
Hey.
She in the comments, and she everywhere. She doing the thing. She right here in the office, in the studio with us. She might come in on a break with us. We have Rasul Salim. Peace. Salim has checked in on the radio. Thank you so much for being here.
Shout out to that good brother too.
Shout out to
And
the
Salim's Fish Supreme.
Yes, y'all fish sandwiches are my favorite.
Yeah, and he just did an event this past Sunday. Sorry we couldn't make it, brother. He did an event, you know, in memory of his brother, who was a really, you know, real good friend of mine as well, brother Ishmael Salim. You know, who was killed tragically a little while ago, a couple of years ago, and so we're sending out our condolences still to you and to the family. You know, we got nothing but love for you, so we appreciate you for checking in with us.
Absolutely, thank you so much. Zakia Muhammad says, hello, the village. Hey, sis, how you doing? And then in response to the accountability check question, she says, nope, majority no. So she does not believe that our leaders are serving with respect, transparency, and accountability. So let's get into it. We want to introduce our guest, our special guest, Macon, born and raised, District 3, Macon Bibb County Commissioner Stanley Stewart. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Tia, thank you so much. LJ, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with y'all on this your 21st episode. It took me 21 episodes to get here, but I finally got here. And I can't thank y'all enough. You know, what y'all are doing for the community with Village Talks, and even with the station ownership here at WDDO.
Oh, yeah.
It means so much when you see what's happening across the nation with FCC mandates and the nation over. So
Right.
local ownership is critical and crucial.
Absolutely.
So I
Right.
take my hat off to everyone here.
Thank
sure.
you so much.
Appreciate you too, brother. Yeah, you want to start us off, Tia?
So just to get started, Commissioner Stewart, what inspired you to step into politics and public service, and who or what has shaped your perspective on leadership and accountability in government?
Well, Tia, I appreciate that. I think, you know, the biggest, I grew up in a family where, you know, we always were involved in various things. My great granddad was a college president. My great aunt graduated Spelman in 1929, was the first black supervisor of social workers here in Macon. My family's been friends with the Havisham family, LJ, your family, for generations. So it was part of my DNA. But to break it all down, it comes down to my mother, you know, just instilling in me to make sure you treat people the way you want to be treated. My mother and father both were very respectful people, very giving people. Mom raised me by the notion of Luke 12:48, to whom much is given, much is required.
Absolutely.
And so I try to keep that in mind and heart with everything I do. as mom was passing 4 years ago, I told her I want to put into the world what she instilled in me. And so that kind of, to answer your question, that's where it all started, and that's where it stems from.
That's good. And I think that's awesome, that history, that generational history of being public servants and serving the people, because service is so important. And I think that a lot of times we get into positions, or people get into positions, and the power kind of takes hold. And so how are you able to still be a man of the people, still serve the people? You're at, meetings all over the place. So not only in East Macon, but you're in West Macon, you're wherever you need to be in order to speak for the people who, not only voted for you to serve them, but for the whole community. So how do you stay grounded in that?
Oh, I think it's a notion of knowing that I'm no different than the person who's standing at the bus stop. I'm one and the same. And, I grew up, yes, in a family that was fortunate in many ways, but at the same time, we realized that you've got to make sure that you are a part of the overall community and the general community. And so, my years of doing that, anybody in East Macon would tell you that I've always been a part of that community. I try to do what I can citywide. I often say it may not be my district, but it is indeed my city.
Absolutely.
And so I try to do that. And I have in my mind and in my heart that I truly want to make this city, the state and this nation a better place. And so if you wake up every morning with that notion in your mind, and you try your best throughout the day, and you go to sleep at night and do it all again tomorrow, that's what drives me.
For sure. And let everybody know what side of town is District 3, sir?
That's definitely East Macon. Okay? That's definitely East Macon. That's where my heart is. And I was saying before the show, East Macon was such a wonderful place to grow up in. It's a great place to live now. But it also harkens back to the fact that all parts of our city, whether it be east, west, north, south, central city, we all pretty much are going through some of the same things right now. And the conversations that we have in our East Macon neighborhood associations, and for that matter, neighborhood associations across the city. You and I, we all were just at the Pleasant Hill Neighborhood Association just a week or two back. And so the sentiments are the same, and when you all talk about leadership accountability, and you talk about civic engagement and respect and transparency, those are the issues that are aching from the core of Macon right now.
Right.
And that's why we have to make sure some of the things you just alluded to really equate to the erosion of public trust.
Right.
And so therefore, it's incumbent upon those of us who see ourselves as public servants. I say this quite a bit. I'm glad to be in a position as a commissioner, but that's not the end all be all.
Right.
The greatest stature in any democracy, and I've always said this, is that of a citizen. One of my heroes outside of my mother was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who never held a political office, but he managed to change a nation and a world. So, that public trust, the erosion of that public trust, it has a ripple effect, because then it goes into some folks saying, well, I ain't going to vote.
Right.
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not coming to meetings.
Right.
So that's why it's so important for officials to make sure that they're upfront and try to speak from the heart to the citizens that we represent.
For sure. And speaking of, I know your slogan is this might not be your district, but this is your city.
Yeah.
We like that, all right? But to reverse that,
Yeah.
right? You're from this city, but
Yes,
you
sir.
represent a district.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to ask you, like, what type of plans do you see, or specific initiatives or projects do you have, like, as far as your district plan or your outlook for District 3?
Yes, sir. I'm glad you asked that. I ran on three tenets, which were economic development, infrastructure, and public safety. And I've been trying my best to institute some of those things over the few months that I've been in office so far. To me, the greatest one of those things, even though all three are important, but to me, economic development is the greatest part of it, because, we're lacking for a lot here in this city. The United Way just did a poll saying that 57% of our population lives either paycheck to paycheck or in poverty.
Right.
So, economic development is something that I'm really trying my hardest to work on for East Macon, Macon overall, as we say, but East Macon because that's the district I represent.
Right.
I've been in talks with people like that's a gentleman who's a commissioner up in Spalding County, and his son has Chick-fil-A franchises out in California. And so I've been talking to them, trying to see if we could possibly get something like that in East Macon, either where the old Hardee's is or where the old Bojangles is, right down on Gray Highway.
Oh, yeah.
That would be great. That's another young couple. Both of these are black families. So we need to make sure we increase minority businesses in East Macon and throughout Macon overall. But there's another family that owns Ben and Jerry's franchises. So I've been talking to them. From an infrastructure standpoint, we got the Pine Hill neighborhood, that whole area with the sidewalks. We got that done and completed. I also like to think about human infrastructure. You know, we got to find more things. You all are always talking about this from a youth perspective. So we've been doing things at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School with the Cozy Corner. I think H1 Ellen and Keep Making Beautiful, all they do in that regard.
Right.
We've put $300,000 into the Eastview Park at Hawkinsville with a partnership between KMVB, AARP, Cox, and Macon Bibb. So, and then of course, from a public safety aspect, we're always trying to make sure we increase patrols. Animal control, believe it or not, is something we're getting a lot of questions about now. So we're trying to make sure that's done, and also lights for citizens as well.
So when you say animal control, like a lot of stray dogs?
A lot of stray dogs, like yeah. We got that issue in almost every neighborhood right now in East Macon. My neighborhood, Belvedere Manor. Just the other day, I called about some dogs at the corner of my street, Laney and Stratford. Kings Park has had this for years. There's a group of ladies, older ladies, who love to walk out there. They carry their little golf clubs with them, but they shouldn't have to do that. You know what I mean? And of course, we want to make sure that our animal population is taken care of. But at the same time, we got to make sure, and that falls under the auspice of the Sheriff's Department. But whatever I can do sometimes to try to foster conversations on those lines, I try to do that.
Right. Yeah, that's good stuff. We think that's really good. Oh, shout out to a couple of our folks in the chat too. Hey, Corey, what's going on? Some of our folks are checking in on YouTube right now because it seems like we're having a little. Facebook is freezing up a little bit, right? So shout out to Corey. And also shout out to Mr. Terry Walker, Hotel to you too, brother. But yeah, in regards to East Macon, those are dealing with the youth and understanding how important that is. Having some of those projects that you named. Those are outstanding. They're great. But one thing I know that even the greater Macon community has been asking about, because really most of the development, a lot of development that's happening for Macon is being spurred or has been initiated on the east side right now.
It is.
Right. So,
yeah.
We have the Morgan National Park.
Yes, sir.
Then we also have what they call the East Macon Bank Development.
The East Bank Project, which is right there off of I-16 as you turn right onto Coliseum Drive across from the Coliseum and the Conference Center.
Right.
Yeah, East Macon is on the move. We're doing some great things out there. Last night at the commission meeting, Tia, congratulations to you and everyone at Burdell Hunt. I've always worked with United Way on the walking school bus audits that we have both at Burdell Hunt and LH Williams.
Right.
So congratulations to Ms. Wright as well. But yeah, we are working real hard to try to get more and more things there. We had a conversation last night about the mayor's backing a new arena coming to that area, which would benefit my district. At the time, my conversation point, which is a moot point now because this is already in play, I wanted to see a new jail. I really did, because anybody who toured that jail, you realize that it's really just a dungeon, right. And it's a place where humans shouldn't be housed in that condition. Mm-hmm. We lost that argument, and so what we got in that regard is $30 million for a revamp of the current facility, and that's the best we can do right now. We have to go with it. Where a lot of our citizens who are in prison or in jail are suffering from mental health issues. This new part will house them and also house those who are, if you want to say, the most hardened criminals, it will house them as well. But getting back to East Macon, the East Bank project is a $350 million proposed project that's right there on Coliseum Drive. The Otmuggy Mounds becoming a national park would be good for East Macon. I've been working and talking with the people at the Fort Hawkins Commission. Mm-hmm. I've introduced the people from the Fort Hill Neighborhood Association to them because my goal is to try to get more tourism, like a tourism corridor for that area. And then you could see maybe more scholarships and more dollars going into the neighborhood of Fort Hill coming from people going to Fort Hawkins. Because once upon a time, Fort Hawkins was, and that's just another thing I told the people at Fort Hawkins, you got to tell the whole story. At one time, that land was the Woolfolk Plantation, where enslaved people were. And of course, we have the Native American aspect there with not just the mounds across the street, but that entire area. And then you have the white American aspect from the settlers who were there. At one time, the westernmost part of the United States of America was the Outmuggy River.
Right.
So all three of those ancestral bloods, if you will be willing to come there from a tourist aspect. And if we could get them there and get those dollars kind of funneled into the Fort Hill community, it would be good for that community.
Right. So, and let me say this too, because, I agree with you to a certain degree.
Yes, sir.
But I think there's a big issue in regards to, because the elephant in the room is always gentrification, right?
Yes.
And then even with our approach, through my experience, doing community organizing and development, I see one thing that goes missing a lot of times with development here in Macon, and that's where there's a focus on building buildings before we build people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a real big issue to me, right?
Yeah.
And especially in regards to when we talk about bringing tourism, because a lot of times, that tourism component could miss the mark as it relates to legacy residents or people who are stakeholders or existing members of communities.
I agree.
And what do you think about that when we talk about things like gentrification? How do you see that affecting East Macon, or what's our plan to keep our neighborhoods in East Macon from being gentrified and actually being a part of these plans for real, where people's lives are improved and not just they're just being a focus on just these areas?
Yeah, that's part of what I'm talking about. I mean, I would love to see, if any money were to come in from, just use Fort Hawkins as an example.
Right.
Me personally, based on my conversations with the Fort Hawkins Commission and with the Fort Hill Neighborhood Association, which I serve on as a media director, I want to make sure that some of those dollars, and really all those dollars, go directly into the community in which is right there at it.
Right.
So that is what you're saying. You want to make sure that they are benefiting. The people who are living there now are benefiting from any tourism actions that are coming into place.
Right.
And so that's my goal, to try to make sure that those dollars are fostered back into, in this case, the Fort Hill community from Fort Hawkins.
And I just want to ask too, just for clarity, when you were talking about the economic development and speaking to the people like with the Ben and Jerry's owners, and the commissioner in Spalding, with that East Bank development, so are there plans specifically for Black-owned businesses to be included in that development?
From my perspective, this is one of the things that I think you left the meeting last night before I mentioned this, but I even said this about the arena. I said it privately and I said it publicly, that we got to make sure that the company that's building that arena has a history, number one, of dealing with female and minority-owned contractors.
Right.
That's the first thing we got to find out. The second thing is I also mentioned the fact that, really the meeting last night was the first time I had a chance to sit down personally with the design team and with those individuals putting the action into place, so to speak. They mentioned that there's a local steering committee made up of Alex Morrison, Julie, who's assistant county manager. I'm missing two other people. Oh, Clay Murphy and also Gary Wheat. All good people, all well-intended people. But I told him, I say, well, I represent District 3.
Right.
And Paul Bronson represents another part, a slither of East Macon in District 2. And I told him in no uncertain terms, I told the mayor and I told the people who were at that meeting, going forward, myself and Commissioner Bronson need to be at the table. Not only need to be at the table, we demand to be at the table on these decisions.
Right.
Because we get questions every day from our constituents asking these questions. And quite honestly, up until last night, we had no answers for them. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question about the, if there are minority contractors involved with the $350 million project, I hope so. But to be transparent, that's what we're talking about it right here, is I don't have deeper knowledge of that right now. Mm-hmm. The mayor is probably a person that you could ask that question of. But I can tell you this. As long as Stanley Stewart is anywhere in the room or near the room, we're going to demand that minority and female contractors are at the table.
Yeah. that's good. You know, we appreciate you too for advocating, and we do know we see you out everywhere.
Yes, sir.
If you go into any meetings, you're most definitely going to see
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Stewart somewhere. And you know what you're saying is important because that's been a frustration of mine as well, as being a person who is a community advocate, organizer, who is very in tune and tries to make sure I'm at the table and have a lot of these conversations as well. But intentionality is key to a lot of this. Right. And a lot of times, you know, we want to come and sit at these tables and we want to be a part of these conversations, but a lot of times we still don't get what we come there for.
We don't.
You know,
we don't. Yeah.
And intentionality is so important, you know, to me. But you don't want to go too far into that. But it's definitely important. We have somebody in the chat, Mr. Corey Wimberly. He's asking a question. He says that he knows that this conversation is about East Macon, but who can he talk to about what's going on with South Macon and about any possible developments?
Well, you know, there again, you know, his commissioner, I think in South Macon, depends on how the lines are drawn, but probably be either Paul Bronson or Bill Howell. You know, but talk to me, Corey. You know, I don't mind any ideas that you have, anything that you want to bring to the table. You know, I'm an open book about that.
We ain't gonna do that. Nope. He represent East Macon.
Right.
Talk to your
commissioner.
Commissioner.
That would be the Paul Bronson or Bill Howell.
There you go.
And give them a call and see what they have in store for you. But at the same time, I do have a deep concern about Macon, Oklahoma. Yes,
I mean, we know you do.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yes, sir.
But at the same time, this show is about accountability.
You're right. You're right about that. No, thank you. You're right. So, okay, Corey, hold those two commissioners accountable, okay, for what you want. That's Paul Bronson and Bill Howell. But let me back up just 10 seconds and say this. When the amphitheater was being built, and this is long before I was a commissioner or right before I was a commissioner, I was one of the only people that went on television with my friend Brittany Miller down at WGXA.
Right, she's good.
And we had a conversation about the fact that I wanted to see minority and female-owned contractors deeper involved in the building of the amphitheater.
Right.
And you can Google that. Google Stanley Stewart talks about minority and female contractors at the amphitheater. So this conversation is something we deeply need to have here in Macon. A good friend of the family was Maynard Jackson. And Maynard Jackson, Mayor Jackson, you know, years back in Atlanta, made sure that when Hartsfield, at the time Hartsfield International Airport, now Hartsfield-Jackson, of course, because of his efforts, was being built, that making sure that minority contractors were desperately a part of that initiative. Right. And because of that, you saw an increase of the black middle class and the black upper class in Atlanta. The same is true here in Macon. Macon is a 65% African-American city. Right. And so we need to be at the table. This is not shutting anybody else out of the equation, but our brothers and sisters who are white, red, yellow, and brown need to understand that in a city that is 65% black, until we get our hands and raise the tides of our African-American brothers and sisters, none of us, black, white, red, yellow, or brown, will be living in a prosperous city.
That's right.
So we got to make sure that every citizen in Macon, Georgia is accounted for, and every citizen in Macon, Georgia is on board to build this city in a better condition.
Right. And I like to take it a step further and just say we're a majority black town. And so we need to be intentional about helping black folks.
That's true.
And
That's true.
I know for a long time, you know, it was like a bad thing in Macon. I would go to these meetings in certain places, and if you said black, it's like, ooh, you know, you can't say black people or black folks. And that's crazy, you know, because when we talk about helping the Hispanic community or Latino community,
that's right,
the Asian community,
that's right,
we talk about any community, ethnic group, we're specific about that. And it's no different here with us as black folks.
And if you think one step further, LJ, when you think about the history of what our ancestors have given and done, the very streets that we drive on and walk on in downtown Macon were laid by African Americans.
Right.
We're free labor, I should say. Okay.
Right.
So I always say this. I was saying this before the show. That my great grandmother was born in 1884, and she used to listen to. She could hear the Ku Klux Klan from our back porch in East Macon, up in Jones County part, up on Joycliff. And so, if I was able to touch a person who was born in 1884 who didn't have the rights and the ability to do certain things in her lifetime, and excuse my language, but I'd be damned if I'm not going to do it in my lifetime.
That's right.
That's right.
So that's what drives me. And I try to make sure that I try to tell young people that all the time. Know where you came from, know your history, and be proud of your history. You came from a history of empowerment, people who survived, people who thrived. Be proud of that and build upon it.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for us too. I'm glad you said that about our history and culture because, there's a push right now to, get rid of certain history in school, especially when in regards to Black history. They call, teaching Black history now as a woke now, or whatever they call it, when the original word for woke was just being aware. Right. And it's gotten just taken and it's been flipped. But in regards to our history and our culture, Macon is full of history. It's full of culture. And there's a lot to be proud of. We know we do have the one end of us, dealing with slavery and Jim Crow and a lot of oppression and things of that nature. But we do have a lot of a lot of things that we can be proud of.
Yes.
So when you have neighborhoods like Pleasant Hill,
yes,
it was the type of neighborhood that would be in the same mode as Black Wall Street,
yes,
in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
And we have other neighborhoods like that all across the country.
Sure.
So we have even Unionville.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. We talked about how the Civil War actually was, the Confederate Army gave up, or they submitted.
Right.
Over. Surrendered. Submitted, same thing. Well, they did. I'm glad you're correct. They surrendered, but they surrendered at Tatton Square Park.
Right.
And most of them were at the hands of the Black Union soldiers were there at the time, and they then settled in the area that we call Unionville today. So that's why it's called Unionville, because of the Black Union soldiers. That's right. So we have so many Tybee. We have so many other situations of Black folks having communities that we built. We have so many achievements and inventions and things that we've done. Sure. And it's a beautiful history. It is. It helps to be a pride. Yeah. So I think that's something that we don't need to let go of.
No.
And then Macon, pound for pound, has more history than just about any city in America.
It does.
Really, for the population and the size of a city, we literally have more history and culture here, even with East Macon. It's been people living in East Macon for the last 17,000 years.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. That makes you realize what we come from.
Right.
Our ancestors, and most of our families here are tied also to the Native American ancestors who are here.
Right.
Yours and mine both.
Right.
So we have to make sure we understand that. And in a national sense, you talk about the fact that, states like Florida are trying to take away studying history, but yet you have states like Oklahoma, which want to put Turning Point into the school system.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
So,
and then even when you talk about like Prager University, I don't know if y'all haven't done any research on Prager University, that's another one.
Yeah. So my point is this. Sometimes things come along in the history of our nation, if you study the history of our nation, where we look at it like this current administration that's in the White House. And as bad and as evil as it may be, you got to try to find what we can do to make it better. It may be the fact that our Black churches have to do more to talk about history. Absolutely. It may do more that our HBCUs have to do more. So a lot of times when what's meant for evil can be turned for good.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And so that's my aspect. That's the way I look at things, and that's the way I live my life.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
And I think that's why people like yourself, LJ with the history, Ms. Muriel Jackson, Mr. Brother Fadil George Muhammad, Dr. Thomas Duvall. That's why people like you all are so important to building up and the remembrance of the history. And even Miss Aisha's cousin, and what's her name? Miss Barbara.
Oh yeah.
And she had the full book of what was going on in Summerfield. And it's like having people who can remember and recall those stories to reinstill that pride. Because without that history and the way that things are going with this revisionist history that we're seeing, it's definitely important to keep the true history alive. And so having people who can speak to it and can help our younger generations to understand the importance of it. We definitely have to be grateful for you all.
Thank you.
No problem. And then just to kind of move forward in the conversation, and I know we're talking about accountability and transparency. How do you hold yourself accountable to your constituents, and what systems can be strengthened to ensure accountability across the county government?
Me personally, communication. To me, that's the best thing you can do for anything. I try to, go to all the neighborhood association meetings that I can. We got 7 or 8 in East Macon, have more wanting to to pop up, like Mr. Scott Hardwick out at Wheeler Heights, out near Geico and Herbert Smart Airport. He's getting ready to start one out there. So going to these neighborhood association meetings and listening, and also trying to relate information that I have back to them.
Right.
That open line of communication is how I try to manage that. From a larger sense, it's 9 of us on the commission plus 1 mayor, which is basically a glorified commission. That's people don't realize that, but really the mayor's role, I'm not saying this mayor, but any mayor's role is really just a glorified commissioner. Has a lot of powers under the current charter, of course. It's harder to get a whole unified body to communicate better with citizens than individuals, because you're dealing with 10 different personalities. But for me personally, I just have an open way of talking to people, trying to understand what they're going through, trying to help them solve what they're going through. But that's me personally. From a larger sense, we got to do a better job of that.
For sure. Now, in regard, I heard you talk about that, about the mayor being a glorified commissioner, and educate some of our folks right now. How many commissioners do we have?
We have 9 commissioners, representing roughly about 17,000 people apiece. We have about 160,000 people here in the city of Macon. The mayor under the current, charter is a strong mayor position. That doesn't mean, for this particular mayor, it's just the way once the consolidated government came into play, it was written that way. The next mayor will have those same strengths. He or she may choose to use them differently.
Right.
If it was me personally, I would always try to make sure that the people are in tune with things. Power to me is not about yourself. It's about making other people's lives better. You know what I mean? And however you can do that with any power that you may have kind of reveals who you are as a person.
Right.
If you're using power to claim it all to yourself, or using power to be vindictive, or using power, however it may be. And I'm not suggesting that about, this mayor. You make your own assumptions up about that. That's your own due diligence.
Right.
But I am saying anybody who's in that position who uses power in that way is definitely wrong.
Right. And we have a comment from Chris Barfield. He says, only a few of our local leaders even understand what it means to be a true public servant.
Yeah.
Don't just take his word for it. Watch or attend the meetings yourself. And that's, again, speaking to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence. And that's why it's so important for us to engage civically in whatever meetings. We went to that water authority meeting earlier this month, and we saw for ourselves just the way that even water board commissioners were being treated by other commissioners. And so we have to take it upon ourselves to make sure. And I know that some of these meetings kind of fall within times that don't work for some people. But whenever you can, please be sure to attend these different meetings going on with our elected officials.
And LJ, let me say this. If Chris is listening, Chris is a good person. Chris Barfield is a good person. He takes great notes in meetings, really better than some of the journalists that we have at some of the meetings. So I hope his voice, and I've told him, this is the type of person I am. I don't say anything privately that I can't say publicly. Right. And I hope Chris decides to, in the future, lend his voice again to our Macon landscape and decide to run for some office again in the future.
For sure. Yeah, he's definitely going to let it be known, whatever's on his heart, and he does the research. So respect to Mr. Barfield. But I like to also say that when it comes to like the power, a lot of our folks, they don't understand how our government works a lot of times. We hear the words commissioner, mayor, different things of that nature, but sometimes we don't understand. Like even when we have our city hall meetings, can you let folks know when we have those meetings at city hall and what does that look like? What does a typical meeting look like? And if a person wants their voice to be heard or they want to speak out, like what process do they need to take, and the agenda? Can you speak to what the agenda is?
Yeah, I'm going to start first with the protocol, and I'm going to come in being just as real as I can possibly be about it.
Okay.
The protocol is, of course, we meet the first and third Tuesdays of every month. Pre-commission usually starts around 4:30. It alternates sometimes. And then commission meeting starts at 6. Most of the business is done in pre-commission, so try to get there at that time. You can sign up to speak. If the current administration, the current mayor cuts the the microphone off after agenda items. And so for non-agenda items, you basically are not heard by the general public, which I think is a really something that should not be done. If you're having a public meeting, it should be from gavel to gavel,
Right.
you know?
That's right.
And but that's what he's doing. And I would urge organizations like the NAACP and other organizations, A. Philip Randolph Institute, to look into the legality of that. Find out if that's something that can really be done from a statewide perspective or not, or a national perspective. So look into the legality of that for those individuals who can do that. Now, under the structure, as we just talked about, you have a strong mayor. In past administrations, a lot of times things were done in committee.
Right.
We don't have that right now. Okay, it's been decided not to have that. So a lot of the decisions are made by the mayor. What's on the agenda is basically made by the mayor, which is why last night I had an issue with coming in, just hearing about some of the issues dealing with the arena for the very first time.
Right.
In past administrations, we probably would have had a deeper conversation about that prior to that.
Right.
So, as it stands now, you have, 2 more years of this administration, then you have another election. A lot of people talk about whether the current mayor will, get his way and have the state charter change to where he can run for a third term. It doesn't make a damn difference because you still got an election,
Right.
and somebody's going to step up and run against him. Okay. So, that's and somebody will hold him accountable for the things that he has done over the last 8 years, be they good or bad.
Right.
When you're running for that position, you've got a record, and a person who's running against you is going to use that record,
Right.
either good or bad. So don't get too concerned about whether or not the current mayor can run for a third term or not. He and I've had conversations about this, and I told him personally, I don't agree with that. It could be me in that seat. I don't think I would deserve a third term. So it has nothing. Sometimes people take things personally, but from a governmental standpoint, I think 2 times is enough.
Right.
Yeah. Personally, I don't agree with it. For one, I think there should be more focus on youth development.
Yes,
And on developing our next round of leaders.
that's right.
Because that isn't a focus right now
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And I appreciate some of the things that have been done. Like y'all are voting for the property tax decrease, which this is another conversation too. Because when you talked about why aren't you introducing it, I also mentioned it myself when I went to commission a month ago in regards to us. And there's a state tax exemption in regards to groceries.
Yes.
So we can take off.
Yes.
Was it 4 cents?
4%.
Right.
Macon has an 8% tax rate. 4% is local, 4% is state. And I brought this up when I was talking about the 57% study by the United Way. 2 counties, Gwinnett and Cherokee, forego that 4%. And so if you were foregoing that 4%, that's basically $40 per $1,000 you spend. I was at Kroger's just about 2 or 3 days ago.
Right.
The lady working there was talking about the fact what she can't afford. She's working at Kroger, and she's talking about the things that she can't afford, how she can't get certain things. And so she asked what, some of, just like you're doing right now, what are some of the things that we're talking about? And I told her about the 4%. To be honest with you, Mayor Ellis had been talking about this for a long time. And it's something that we've got to look into to see if we can bring some relief to those individuals who are suffering. Because yes, property tax is fine, even though the mayor and I had our issues, and I voted yes for it. But my concern is that if you continue to take away property tax revenue, which I think has been like $30 million taken out of the budget now for that, and you put it all in the tourism bucket, which you just talked about as well.
Right.
Tourism is going to fluctuate. Service delivery strategies and matters don't fluctuate. You got to have that done.
Right.
So for future administrations, mayors and commissioners, it's a concern of mine. It's a real concern of mine, and a concern of a lot of folks, that making sure that Macon Bid will have the money going forward to be able to do the things we need to do for. You talk about, citizens getting a tax break at 65, 75 years of age. But if you don't have enough money for the ambulance to come out to the house or whatever it may be for a service delivery strategy, what good is that tax break?
Right.
So those are issues that we got to talk about from an going back to economic development standpoint for all of our citizens going forward. And that 4% would be a huge savings for some of our citizens.
So what did the mayor say about that when asked about it? Because I said something, I didn't get a response to it.
Well, he's not in favor of that. He's not in favor of it.
I mean, why? Why wouldn't the mayor?
Well, that's something you got to ask him. Okay. But he's not in favor of it, and and perhaps with a lot of groundswell, this is what happened with the jail. When we started marching and talking about the jail, that's when certain things came to light. And that's when certain things happen. So I would suggest, going back to me saying that the citizen is the greatest aspect of a democracy, citizens keep this front and center. And perhaps maybe in the next 2 years, while he's still in office, he may change his mind about it. But if not, maybe the next mayor will make that a reality.
Yeah. And we should be, when we talk about transparency, right? This is what we're talking about. Why? I mean, if you already said 57% of our folks here making middle Georgia live paycheck to paycheck
or poverty,
right? Because 40% of our kids live below the poverty line. Right? So we are a very impoverished city. We are double the state average in relation to poverty.
Right.
So if you telling me we can save money on our groceries, it's our groceries. Anytime we go buy the grocery, corner store, grocery store, whatever it is, you have counties like Cherokee County and these other counties that are doing this right now,
and far richer counties than we are,
and they're making a whole lot of money in these
Cherokee
counties,
and Gwinnett,
right?
Yeah.
So why is this something that we can't implement here and make in Georgia in regards to poverty-stricken folks or folks who live in paycheck to paycheck can't take advantage of paying less for their groceries?
That's the biggest thing that I think needs to be dealt with right now, because you're talking about $40 for every $1,000 spent. That would buy more food, that would buy more gas, that would buy more things to keep houses going and sustain individuals. So please, keep that question front and center. I'll do my part. I'll do my part making sure that we keep it front and center, but it's going to take a citizen effort as well.
Citizens, I hope y'all are hearing this, okay? The state has already passed this, okay? We have a state tax exemption for the whole state of Georgia that other counties are taking advantage of. But right here in Macon, Georgia, in Bibb County, we're not taking advantage of the fact that we could be paying 4 cents or 4% less on our groceries, okay? Yeah. We can't even get a straight answer as to why this won't work in our town.
Yeah, and that's what I would love to see, LJ. I would love to see our commission and our administration sit down with the people and discuss issues. That goes back to the transparency issues you're talking about.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to have. And we need to have. I've been in meetings in other parts of town where certain commissioners are not even present, and I'm there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we are having those conversations. Don't be afraid as an elected official to have a conversation. I was telling before the show, I've been cursed out about dogs.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And you just have to sit there and take it.
That's right.
Because you're in this position as a public servant. So to our mayor and to the other 9 commissioners, don't be afraid to go before the citizens of Macon-Bibb County and have these deep, deep, deep necessary conversations with the people that you've been elected to represent.
Absolutely.
And so Sarah Holloway says, I hope whoever the next mayor isn't there just for a check. Ms. Bryant, Donnie's Bryant, Commissioner Bryant, hello. She says her channel keeps going out. If you can join us on YouTube, that'd probably be best for you. Chris Barfield says, thank you guys. Citizens watch Commissioner Stewart is a true representative of the people. Leaders like, I'm sorry, scroll down. I'm sorry, Chris. I can't get to the rest of your comment.
I appreciate Mr. Barfield.
He says, if you see what I see and want to talk about anything Macon Bibb, I've created the receipt room, a space where citizens can discuss what our leaders are really up to without fear of being silenced.
Yeah, but our receipt room really should be our city hall.
It really
you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And let me be real clear, because I've been accused of rubble rousing or being too this and that or negative or whatever it is, right? For one, I love Macon. Let me make that very clear.
Me too.
I've been a part of and created a lot of positive, very positive movements at the longest running talent showcase in the state of Georgia for a very long time, Monday Night Live. I created something called Making Peace, which is a hashtag campaign to offset the negative news and negative timelines, things that we've seen. And my family has worked tirelessly to create a lot of positive things.
Generations.
And that's me, right? But at the end of the day, we can't act like these problems or these things don't exist, right? And we got to have people that can actually advocate. So when we are told, hey, well, no, we can't talk about this or don't talk about it. Like right now, we asking the question on why can't poor folks get 4% off on their groceries.
Right. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we go into a space where there's a community meeting, we might ask the same question, to the mayor or someone else or whatever, and they say, "Oh no, we don't want to discuss that. That start trouble. We got to be positive. Let's talk about these positive things we building over here. This and that, whatever."
Yeah.
How does that not make sense? Because when you look at these developments, and I know we wrapping up, and I know you got to finish this up, Commissioner. When you look at these developments, $50 million over here, $40 million over here, this amount of million over here, somebody's getting paid off of this.
Yes.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And folks are getting paid millions of dollars.
Right. Yeah.
And most of them folks aren't the same people who are in or living below the poverty line.
Yeah. I think, LJ, a lot of times it comes down to the fact that people, and I don't suffer from this, all right? This is an old Maynard Jackson term as well, a scared Negro syndrome. I don't suffer from that. I come from the family I come from, the family you come from. We've been through so much, and the families have been involved in so much until, what you're dealing with in Macon, Georgia right now is small compared to some of the uphill mountains that our families have had to climb.
Right.
But I will say that, there is an air of vindictiveness that comes sometimes when you step forward and do certain things. A few weeks ago, the mayor and I disagreed. The mayor turned my microphone off, and he gets in the back and he tells me, "Well, you talk when I tell you to talk." And I say to him in no uncertain terms, where the whole gallery could hear me and the people in the conference room could hear me, "Don't ever make that mistake again. I was elected by the people of East Macon and not by you."
Right.
All right. In fact, he tried very hard. This is part of the things that he was fined about. Put $24,000 behind Melvin Flowers to run against me. All right. And did that to Jawan Jackson. So we're going to be transparent. And I told him, and I tell everybody else now, when you did that, then the next few weeks, 2 weeks later, comes out in the Monroe County Reporter, and this is back to me being transparent.
Right.
When I took care of my mother for 11 years, we had bills,
Right.
just like all other Maconites. We had garbage fee and everything else, which I've been paying on since 2019. But I have a lot of friends in the media, and somebody told me that a former commissioner was told to call this media outlet at the urging of a higher up. And I won't say who this former commissioner is, but it's not always unity in the community. Just put it like that. And so, the fact of the matter is that you poked the damn bear when you did that. You really did, because I'm the type of person that you're not going to walk up and slap me and don't think you're going to get slapped back. All right. I'm going to make sure that the people of Macon, Georgia are always represented wholeheartedly by Stanley Stewart and his efforts. Just leave it like that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'd like to say this. Isn't it Tony just came and looked at us? But he actually looked at the two. Now we got to listen. This is for our future guests. Don't y'all forget, this is a gospel radio show now. Hey, turn Commissioner Stewart up in here. We know it's in the Bible too, but hey. Yeah, but we appreciate
Sorry,
Tony. It's all right. It's all right. And one more thing, this show is not about the mayor. It's not about anybody or whatever. It's about you, and it's about us getting served in the right way. We have a strong mayor in this current government, so it's important to know why we keep resorting to that, because that's who's running everything.
Right.
And in ways, it is about the mayor and the commissioners. Because you've got to hold me accountable.
Oh yeah.
You got to hold the other 8 people accountable. You got to hold the administration accountable. You got to hold the county manager accountable.
Absolutely.
You got to hold the whole shebang accountable.
The appointed officials too,
The appointed officials too. Yes.
Yeah, because the mayor appoints a lot of has a lot of appointed officials. We have a lot of appointed positions that are here too. So we need to keep that in mind as well. But we appreciate you.
Oh, I thank y'all so much.
We're gonna have to bring you back again because this probably wasn't enough time to go through this. Tia, you got anything you want to say?
It never is. But y'all, the only thing I want to say is your vote is
It
your
matters.
voice.
Yeah.
So it matters. Be civically engaged whenever you can, however you can. And then stay informed, stay updated. If you can attend meetings, find people who are attending and see them if they can give you an update, things like that. So that's all I have for everybody. Just make sure that you are using your power to the best of your ability, because it's your choice every day to decide if you're being empowered or disempowered.
That's right. That's right. So make sure y'all get out and do that. Make sure you vote. More importantly, but make sure that you're respectful to one another. We love one another.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Lead with love is what I always say.
Absolutely.
Lead with love, but hold folks accountable.
There
y'all.
you
Start
go.
with yourselves.
This is balance to that. Yeah, but thank y'all for checking in with us. We know we had an issue today on the Facebook channel, but make sure you go to YouTube and check out the replay. Make sure y'all share this. If you're in the comments right now, share. please share the YouTube link, because I think we had some issues with our Facebook today. But we thank y'all. Make sure y'all check in with us again next week on Village Talks.
Thank y'all, everybody.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM, WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.